Brittany Weber, Fowler.
Weber and the senior class came up with the motto, "More than a race."
1, 2, 3, more than a race.
A phrase that defined their season.
I think it shows not just like the battles we face on the track with racing, but also like in life. Like we're all gonna have obstacles come our way. And for us this year, it meant her cancer treatment and her cancer diagnosis. And I think it's important to realize that no matter what the outcome is of a race, you matter more than that. Like you mean more than that. You have more purpose in life than that. And I think just rallying behind her and her cancer fight was just the true definition of that.
To me, this is just something that I had to face. Like it's just a chapter in my life, and there will be other seasons of life and seasons of track where, you know, I don't have to go through this and we can focus on the fun things, but there will be always that sense of family and support.
Last Saturday, this chapter of Fowler Track finished with a storybook ending. The Eagles are back-to-back state champions.
It was really hard knowing that some of my races that I ran were my last races with some of my best friends and one of my favorite coaches. For all my coaches, it was a very emotional day, and in the end, it was a very happy ending.
After my 800 on Saturday at States, it was the last race of my high school career, and she was the first person that I embraced afterwards, and that moment is something I will never, ever forget.
Maggie Burma, Fowlerville.
Well, Ford Field was the venue for a historic wrestling state finals this past weekend as Fowlerville's Maggie Burma won her 4th straight state title, becoming the first girl to four-peat in the wrestling state finals in the history of the MHSAA.
It wouldn't have been possible without everybody who helped me along the way, just my coaches who've been there for me all the way along, my teammates, my sister, my parents who've done everything for me, dropped everything just so I could wrestle and practice.
Burma started wrestling after making a bet with her brother. He would tap dance and she would wrestle. One of the cooler moments for her this past weekend at the state finals was when a younger girl asked for her autograph.
I think it's still kind of hitting right now, but I think it's so awesome that now there is women's wrestling in Michigan, and I got to be a part of one of the first movements for women's wrestling.
Very proud, you know, it's just like, she's family. How can I say it? You know, she's family. You know, she's one of the hardest workers I've ever worked with. Being the first four-timer for the girls, that's awesome. Yeah, but hopefully we can get a few more just like her.
Martell Murchison, Lansing Eastern.
I was outside by myself, being a kid, and had the wrong firework in my hand, lit it up, and it blew up in my hand before it could release from my hand.
Which led to Martell's mom rushing him to the hospital that night and doctors having to amputate what was remaining from his left hand, and it ultimately forced him to miss 3 years of his favorite sport, football.
I backed up when he turned.
I would just sit in my room and cry every day, trying to get out on the field, but it took a healing process.
During that healing process, Martell was able to realize the path he wants to take in life, largely thanks to his mom, grandma, and uncle.
They want me to do better than what I did last year. I was all messed up and not doing right, didn't have good grades, but that's changed. I'm in the 9th grade now. I got to do better.
Martell's high school story began last Wednesday when he scored 3 touchdowns in Lansing Eastern's junior varsity game against Maple Valley, and then he played in 1/4 of the varsity team's win over Wayne Memorial on Thursday, proving the freshman's work ethic to get back to playing the game he loves is paying off.
It's something that's been in his life, and that's made him who he is, and just to see the resilience is amazing.
Losing a hand is big, and then the fact of the matter is that I'm still playing football with one hand, that's something I have accomplished, and I'm proud of it.
Stockbridge boys basketball.
We have never felt alone in this journey. I feel like this community has rallied around us.
Stockbridge entered the night in first place in the Big 8 Conference and were taking on a Springport team who handed them their only conference loss of the season. Besides the stakes, tonight's game had a bigger meaning for the community. Tonight was a yellow out to show support and raise money for two Stockbridge students, DJ and Landon, who've been diagnosed with cancer. The Panthers and their fans wore custom shirts. Even Springport had shirts on to show support.
Both kids are in the basketball program, and when we heard about it, we heard about one at first, and we were just hit you right in the stomach, you know. And so I went to a middle school game, and then they had T-shirts on. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. They did that for DJ. And they're like, no, another kid has it in Landon. So then we had two in the program.
To have two cases in our own community, and then even further, you know, in the same school, was really mind-blowing.
I figured that's a great way to rally the community. We're going up against our league rival in this sense. You know, we're fighting for the #1 spot. Everybody's going to be there already, but let's give them a true, authentic reason to be there and rally, not just for the basketball, but for these boys.
We have a bracelet that says Landon Strong and one that says DJ Strong as well.
Henderson with the mid-range J, silky smooth. Stockbridge wins 59-45.
It's more than basketball tonight. It's about these two young men and their families feeling like we got their backs. 100%, we're there for you. Whatever you need, we'll do it for you.
Tanner Villalobos, Fulton.
Well, you have to go all the way back to 2008 to find the last time Fulton's football team was 5-1 heading into week 7 of the high school football season. The star of Fulton's 60-33 win over Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart Academy, Tanner Villalobos. The senior running back finished with 293 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns on the ground, while also throwing for 86 yards and a touchdown. And the career night, which featured 7 TDs, has a deeper meaning than just stuffing the stat sheet. Back in 2017, Tanner's father unexpectedly passed away, and their shared love of football is something that still connects them.
I do it for him. He was my rock, and I do everything for him, hoping he's watching over me right now. I mean, he was always like coach to me. He was your stereotypical perfectionist, and it definitely paid off in the end.
Yeah, Lupe, he loved his kids unconditionally. And he would have been very proud of Tanner and the man that he is and that he's becoming.
Fulton's got it down inside the 1, and Tanner Villalobos takes it outside and into the end zone. The Pirates take the lead back with under 2 minutes to go.